President Biden, while black unemployment dropped to a record low under your presidency, black families still earn far less than white families. Black mothers are still 3 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes, and black Americans are imprisoned at 5 times the rate of white Americans. What do you say to black voters who are disappointed that you haven't made more progress?
They acknowledge they made a lot of progress, number one. The fact of the matter is there's more small black businesses that have been started than any time in history. Number two, the wages of black unemployment is the lowest level it's been in a long, long time. Number three, we're trying to provide housing for black Americans and dealing with the segregation that exists among these corporations that collude to keep people out of their houses. And in addition to that, we find that the impact on the choice that black families have to make relative to child care is incredibly difficult. When we did the first major piece of legislation in the past, I was able to reduce black child care costs. I cut them in half. We got to make sure we provide for child care costs. We got to make sure, because when you provide those child care protections, you increase economic growth because more people can be in the job market. So there's more to be done, considerably more to be done. But we've done a great deal so far, and I'm not letting up, and they know it.
You have 49 seconds left. What do you say to black voters who are disappointed with the progress so far?
I say I don't blame them for being disappointed. Inflation is still hurting them badly. For example, I provided for the idea that any black family, first-time home buyer, should get a $10,000 tax credit to be able to buy their first home so they can get started. I made sure that we're in a situation where all those black families and those black individuals who had to take out student loans that were ballooning, that if they were engaged in nursing, doctor, and anything having to do with volunteerism, if they paid their bills for 10 years on their student debt, all the rest was forgiven after 10 years. Millions have benefited from that. And we're going to do a whole lot more for black families.
Thank you, President Trump.
And he caused the inflation. He's blaming inflation, and he's right, it's been very bad. He caused the inflation, and it's killing black families and Hispanic families and just about everybody. It's killing people. They can't buy groceries anymore. They can't. You look at the cost of food where it's doubled and tripled and quadrupled. They can't live. They're not living anymore. He caused this inflation. I gave him a country with essentially no inflation. It was perfect. It was so good. All he had to do is leave it alone. He destroyed it with his Green New scam and all this money that's being thrown out the window. He caused inflation. As sure as you're sitting there, the fact is that his big kill on the black people is the millions of people that he's allowed to come in through the border. They're taking black jobs now, and it could be 18, it could be 19, and even 20 million people. They're taking black jobs, and they're taking Hispanic jobs, and you haven't seen it yet, but you're going to see something that's going to be the worst in our history.
Thank you. President Biden?
There was no inflation when I became president. You know why? The economy was flat on its back.
What people have to accept, and this is the devastating part, and this is for black folks, they have to accept that America wants you left behind. And you have to accept even your well-meaning white friends, either they don't know, don't understand, or don't care. You just gotta say it what it is. They hate Trump so much that he could say, hey, black jobs are leaving and disappearing because of the influx of migration, and instead of looking into it at all, they'll trigger a bunch of blacks who are mostly well-to-do. So if you're an elite person, or a person, upper middle class person, or a person with a lot of, I would say, expendable income, and even if you're black, you may not be aware that the majority of black people work certain types of jobs in America. See, maybe not you, Morehouse man. Maybe not you, Howard University graduate. Single black woman with 3 degrees, no man. Black guy who went to college and forgot where he came from. Forgot your cousins and your nephews and your aunts or your people you grew up with who did not have the opportunities you had or were able to capitalize the way you were able to capitalize for whatever reason. Who got caught up in the criminal justice system, the pipeline to prison, which was all built there to do that. It was all put there to do that. Not everybody was as fortunate as you, my friend. But there are a class of black folks who need those jobs at the processing plants, who need those jobs working on the roads, who need those jobs that have been historically jobs mostly maintained by Black America. And the fact that you don't know that America is very segregated shows that you are showing your class privilege. Either that or you're out of touch with what blackness is. You forgot. So we got a lot of black people who think we're in such a place where these things don't apply anymore. They think that we're in such a place, everybody's LeBron James, and everybody can go to Coachella, and everybody is just chilling, listening to Kendrick Lamar albums beside their pool and getting their dog neutered, their Pomeranian dog neutered. But a lot of black people are not doing as well as that. So when we say black, instead of getting hung up on the term black jobs, start defining what a black job is. I want to shout out osei-frimpong because he addressed this. I talked about it like a week ago. I talked about it literally a week ago, not even that long ago, when I was addressing the migration situation, the migrant influx. That hurts poor black people. It may not hurt you. But see, what we have is we have people who don't know. Okay, we have people that don't understand and who are unbothered. That's what they like to say. They like to walk around and say they're unbothered. They're unbothered by what is said, and they detest Trump. It ain't about Trump. He's right. He's right. Competition for jobs is a serious issue in the black community. There have been studies done on it. There have been people who looked into it. Hell, I've lived it. I've known it. My father told me about it. In the construction industry, it's just one. In the restaurant industry, there's another. There are a number of industries, semi-skilled or unskilled labor, that black people did. What kind of job do you get coming out of mass incarceration? How far removed are you from the realities that most black people have to face, or a large segment of black people have to face? How removed are you from that you can't ascertain and wrap your head around it? Instead, what you'll do is you'll listen to some cornball Democratic paid shills with a talking point that was handed out in the memos this morning, how to combat the cluster dumping and the thumping that Biden just took from Trump. So there's a set of talking points. They all ran out with a head of steam, led by Kamala Harris, going on the Anderson Cooper show to talk about how, well, we can't worry about what Biden did in this one and a half hour debate. Let's talk about what he's done over the last 3.5 years. And let's forget the fact that he looked like somebody who not only will not win the presidency, but cannot win it because he should not be able to have that job. He should not have that job because he's incapable of that job. That's what that looked like last night. Trump should not have that job because he just shouldn't have that job. He's in above his head. His execution, his awareness of the facts are almost non-existent, but his ability to lambast, say incendiary things and catch a soundbite or two, that's great and all, and I appreciate him for saying truthful things, but he didn't have a prescription of fixing anything. But we know that he thinks that Biden is the worst president ever, and he thinks Biden's a buffoon, and of course that Hunter Biden has a felony. And these are great, and that's good. But hey, that's not going to change our lives, our situations, or what's going on in this country right now. So all the Democratic shills and those looking to become Democratic shills with their fingers crossed, pinkies crossed, and legs crossed are all hoping that they can kiss butt enough to alleviate the stomping that Trump gave Biden behind the shed last night in front of the entire world. And everybody saw that. And almost unanimously, minus those people who are in the bag for the Democrats, it was obvious, man. See, very few of us have had the guts to say, hey, this immigration issue is a problem. Now, if you've been on the outskirts of the media situation and you're in the media, you're in a silo of media and you haven't ventured into what's called the mainstream media, it may not seem like a big deal. People tell all types of harsh truths to the world in your section all the time. But in corporate media, they never share the truth. Not on this topic. It's as if the Democrats, no matter what color they are afraid to tell the truth about immigration and who it impacts the most. And they don't want to come up with a solution that would make it more fair and make it more reasonable. And no one wants to really address the fact that there are people who are disproportionately impacted by the influx of immigration. But it was like Trump stayed on that issue and stayed on that issue and stayed on that issue. So it's not even about the debate. I'm just talking about what's important and what's factual and what needs to be addressed that neither one of them really wanted to address. Well, Trump addressed the immigration issue, but not Biden. In fact, Biden doubled down on it. Biden said this.
Illegal aliens are coming into the country and taking away our jobs. There's a reason why we have the fastest growing economy in the world, the reason why we have the most successful economy in the world. We're doing better than any other nation in the world. And by the way, those 15 Nobel laureates he talked about being phony.
There it is right there. There it is. That was his comeback. Hey, our economy is great because I bring in all these migrants at the expense of who? And who says the economy is great? The corporations say the economy is great. Is the economy great for you? Is the economy great for you? So when he says the economy is great because of this influx of immigration, who is he really talking about, man? Who is he saying is benefiting from that? Does he saying black people are benefiting from it? Is he saying that black Americans are benefiting from it? Is the lower middle class benefiting from it? Is the lower middle class, is the low class, is the poverty class, people around the poverty line, are those people benefiting from the influx of migration? He just told you. And instead of listening to what Biden said, forget what Trump said, Biden just said, hey, the economy's doing great. We all know the stock market's doing great for certain people who have those types of investments. We're able to pick up those corporate gains. But what about everybody else? Not you. If you are detached and you're doing well and you don't have to consider yourself in this, I get it, man. I'm not advocating for you. I'm advocating for those people who are disproportionately impacted adversely by the need to push up to make money that goes to the top, because that's where the money goes that he's talking about. He just said it. One more time. He said it.
Those 15 Nobel aliens are coming into the country and taking away our jobs. There's a reason why we have the fastest growing economy in the world, the reason why we have the most successful economy in the world. We're doing better than any other nation in the world. And by the way, those 15 Nobel laureates
That's right.
talked about being...
The reason why he says we're doing so great, why things are going so great for us in America, is because our economy's going crazy. It's amazing. It's because of the influx of immigration. That's what he just said. How in the hell could that be so for people that are poor and unskilled workers? That's my main pushback about the whole student loan debt thing. So instead of people that could counter this or to have a really productive conversation about immigration, they'll let Trump come out here and win this election on it because they don't want to have a robust conversation about it. You want to deny that it's an issue. You want to deny that it impacts people. I'm not saying Trump even brings it up to help Black Americans. I'm not delusional. But what I'm saying, it is an issue that does hurt Black Americans. And the fact we can't get Democrats to have an honest conversation about it, because one, they're either afraid to lose favor with the Democratic Party, or two, lose their damn jobs, or three, as Arami put it, the liberal money might dry up. We got some liberal people watching me right now who are pissed off I'm even bringing this up. Not because I'm saying something wrong, but because they disagree with it fundamentally, because they want to help everybody. They could care less that Black Americans built this country against their will for free and have suffered at being at the bottom. If there are migrants coming to this country who are stepping right over us in the hierarchy of financial sustenance right now, they don't care about that. They don't even want to entertain the argument because they don't want to get shunned by their friends. They got a cognitive dissonance for me even pointing them out and putting them on a hot seat. So yeah, there's a lot, man. I got 12 clips, different points of view, different things that were said that we could talk about from that, I can't call it a debate, from that event. But how much do you really need to go over it to realize Biden looked like somebody who didn't know where he was? He looked bad even when he wasn't talking. How you look bad even when you're not talking? How do you lose when you're not talking? He was losing not talking. He was losing just standing there. So as I said before, my primary objective is for Black people to get something for their vote. Biden's not talking specifically about giving Black people anything for their vote. They're talking about things they're giving to immigrants that Black people can also apply for. That's what they're talking about. That ain't the same thing. Now, it's okay for people who are in the LGBTQ to come out here and be very focused on what their issues are that benefit their communities. They want their equality and there's things that they want. And I get that. And it's okay for people who support immigrants to come out here and be very focused on what's important to them, to talk about DACA and the host of the Dreamer Act, the Dreamers and all that stuff, and to talk about what they think needs to happen for them. Why is it such a disdain when Black people come out and say, hey, I'm fighting for Black people to get something for their vote? For their vote. Because we're on the bottom of the bottom. And I shouldn't even have to qualify it with that. But it's just a reminder that America has a tendency to neglect us in all things American. We're at the top of every bad list and at the bottom of every good one, and it's for a reason. It's intentional. It's not for lack of character. It's for lack of resources. And why do we have lack of resources? 100 years of Jim Crow would do it, and the new Jane Crow that we're in right now. And we got these delusional people running around because they got jobs working in computers or jobs being engineers, and some of them went and got a degree and now they're a lawyer or whatever. And they forget that ain't everybody. And they forget that $10,000 to $20,000 off of student loan debt ain't changed the world, especially when you consider only about 30% of Black people go to college and only about 20% of the 30, only about 20% finish. So all the other people that don't go, how do they benefit from that? I know you benefit from it, and that's great. And I applaud you. Good luck. I'm happy to hear that you got over. Wiping out $100 billion worth of student loan debt, not money given away, wiping out $100 billion of student loan debt sounds like an awful lot, folks, until you find out that there's also $1 trillion outstanding. So that's like 10%. Wake up. Wake up. I know we got these morons on Twitter and TikTok regurgitating it because, like I said, the emails go out. They go out to the people and they tell the people, hey, tell your people, tell your influencers, tell your people that kissing our ass trying to get favors to get invited to some party that they should not be at, or these people that are trying to get put on by the Democratic Party because they are paying influencers now across all these social media sites. Tell them to go out, regurgitate these talking points about how great Biden did because of student loan debt. I just told you, go check the numbers. 10 to 20 grand off your student loan debt ain't changed that many lives. And how many people are actually going to college that could benefit it? And what about all the Americans who don't go to college? You got nothing for that, right? Why come that can't be part of the conversation? I got no problems with people ascending in the hierarchy as far as the economics, and they're at a point where these are no longer their problems. Then be quiet and stop talking about people's problems that you have no way to relate to. Because if you are doofy enough not to think in certain places, in certain locations, that black people had certain jobs, man, go check out Arami Osei-frimpong. He did a better job of articulating it, I think. But the fact he's a professor is probably part of the reason he teaches for a living. But but I did state this, and it's the obvious. But see, I learned it firsthand from a dad who was working on construction sites and coming home and telling me about how his whole crew changed and how it was black men are not getting these jobs. And I didn't understand it. I was a young guy in my teens. I was a kid. I didn't understand what he was talking about. There's been a turnover. So what I'm saying is, and you know what? We should ascend. I get it. You think we've ascended to a position where these problems don't exist for us, right? You think black people have ascended to all types of great jobs and we're doing so fine. Sir, you can't have it both ways. Why is there DEI, doofus? Why do we have DEI? Why was people fighting to keep that if black people are doing so well in all these other positions that are so high up that they couldn't even be bothered with the jobs that the immigrants are getting? I saw a dumb white guy actually type, "Oh, my black friend's a lawyer, so I don't know what they're talking about, how black people are being hurt by jobs, manual labor jobs that are done by immigrants." Yeah, all the black people he knows. So a white lawyer has black lawyer friends, maybe two, in the black law firms that he sees at the lawyer conventions, and he thinks that's all black people, when it ain't. It's similar to morons that think all the black people can play basketball and dunk like LeBron, or have rapping skills like Kendrick and make lots of money performing rap songs. Every other day, a rapper that you never heard of, that probably never made a more than $100 rapping, gets killed. With no fame, no money, no nothing. So we got these delusional people running around, speaking for us, and some of them just generally speaking, without the benefit of information, data, or tutelage, wisdom, or getting under the damn wing and learning a thing or two. Instead, it's so to my guy on Twitter who wants to know, because he asked me, he made a comment like, what are black jobs? And he's so smart. He's a pastor or a speaker or something. And I just typed one word, because he was like shitting on this idea that there are black jobs. And I just said wrong. And he's like showing off in front of his crew. Hey, I think his name is Akers. He's like, yeah, your one-word answer is not going to be enough here. You don't have to articulate yourself, sir. And I told him, I said, man, I'm about to go do a live stream, meaning I'm at work. I don't just jump on Twitter to get in arguments with you. I don't even know you, dude. I just answered in a one answer. I didn't shame you. I didn't come at you. But now let me shame you, sir. I know you're doing really well taking money from your congregation or whatever the hell it is you do, being a pastor or whatever that was. I forget what your handle said there, sir. But there are a number of black people that do all types of jobs, okay? And those black people that are in those jobs, they are competing against people. People always compete for jobs. We have a racist country. I don't know if you noticed in that. We have a racist country where racist employers will hire a brown person over a black person, a light-skinned person over a dark-skinned white, or or an Asian person, or they hire us last, doofus. So if we're competing against people, and not to mention migrants who will take less money, who are sending their money back home, who are living together collectively, communally, able to pool their resources, they'll take less money and not unionize and not strike back and not demand time off because of whatever happened. And so they become much more desirable employees for a lot of reasons, even those beyond racial, just because they get to be taken advantage of without much blowback. And we're just talking about legal immigration. We're not even talking about illegal immigration. Well, they'll just work for nothing. I mean, they're not even supposed to be here, Johnson. And you're going to say, what's a black job? A black job is a job that has historically been held by black people in certain sectors. And there are sectors like this. Arami pointed out there's a hospitality circuit. I'm pointing out there is retail. There's also restaurants. There are a number. There's construction. There used to be processing plants, manufacturing plants. These types of jobs, where they still exist, There was Purdue and Smithfield and all these other jobs being raided because what? They were employing immigrants. And I know it doesn't fit with the Democratic Party talking points because, as Biden stated, the corporations benefit from our economic boom that happens by being able to pay less to employees. It ends up on their green column of their spreadsheets. So, sir, I know you're doing well, and I applaud you doing well. May you continue to go do well and prosper, live long and prosper. But for the rest of Black people that aren't doing as well as you, it would be nice, brother, if you kind of remember that. And stop just jumping on a bandwagon, a doofus of degrading Democrats who are in it for themselves or either delusional, don't look up data, don't understand the plight of working class Blacks who are so fascinated and enamored with the Lisa Rise and the Angela Rise and the Charlemagne the Gods and all the other people that are doing well who need not know about this stuff, who don't have to be actually informed about what working Black people are going through. Who are not you in your bow tie and your suit, in your convertible car, in your Tesla, or whatever the hell that was I saw you on your profile. There are Black people that catch the bus every day, okay? And those Black people's finances are not connecting the way you think Biden has them connecting. So when you said, you go here with your little live stream, I just went on with my little live stream, and I just went on to dismantle your ass, okay? How about that? So until you can stand up and speak up for poor Black people, Black people, brothers coming home from jail from a mass incarceration system will be 5 times more incarcerated. And why is that? Because of lack of resources to begin with. I don't see a lot of people with money to spare who are doing well financially, committing a lot of stupid crimes and put them in jail. I just don't see it. Who's running scams when they're making big money? Legitimately. And then when we do have Black folks like you, and it pains me, my brother, because I'm pretty sure, if maybe it's not you, but maybe there's other people, even when you're doing well in America, and you're Black American, you end up having a family full of people that aren't, that are hitting you up for money all the damn time because they aren't doing so well. Or either the family becomes estranged because every time you turn around, they're asking you for something. You think that's a failure of ethics or morality? The rent's too damn high, doofus. And I'm not saying go vote Republican, but I am saying we need a third party bad as hell. I am saying wake up, and I am saying stop giving Biden your vote. Stop giving Democrats your vote like it's an automatic thing, and start demanding something. It'd be different if y'all jackasses were demanding something, but you ain't demanding anything. You can sit back and just be happily and just want to maintain status quo and talk about you don't want to hear Trump's tweets. Well, I'm not giving Biden my vote. And one reason I won't do it because of him, we don't have to hear Trump's tweets anymore. That's the dumbest thing in the world. Things are calm. You Obamaites piss me off. Revolution ain't calm. Forcing and holding powers to be accountable is not calm and peaceful. What good is being calm and peaceful if people still can't make ends meet? The homeless rate, Black people in certain cities make up 10% of the population, 5% of the population, and nearly half of the homeless population. And your ass is sitting there saying there aren't no Black jobs. There would have been some. They would have been washing those dishes and doing what they needed to do and hopefully moving up to whatever and being able to get up off the street if the jobs were available. There are entire sectors of jobs. But if you don't speak Spanish, you can't be hired, dude. Where you been? What are you reading? What are you consuming that you get to be this dim, this devoid of any interaction with people that look like you who just don't make the money you make, man? My Lord, man. Where you been? You big mouth. You pretentious sellout. I never trust a man in the bow tie, no way. It's your garbage intellect. You elitist bullshit. Your optimism is killing us. Instead of fighting a good fight, get behind a brother like me. I'm willing to risk it and put it on the line for black people who are struggling. And what I got to do, I got to contend not only with with racists, I got to contend with elitist black people who think they got it all figured out because they doing well. And until your ass loses your job, until your white boss tells you to get the shit out, get your ass out of here, N-word, then all of a sudden you want to run back to us and have us stand up for your punk ass because your well-to-do friends are going to disown you. Then you want to run back to real black America then. Then you want to FBA and B1 your ass. Through the Fire Podcast, I've been looking for my black job ever since Trump then said there's a black job for me. I just answered that. Let's keep it a buck. Even if some black progressives have been silent on support of illegal immigration, I just feel vindicated after this. I'm not pro-Trump, but I've been telling friends and family that Biden isn't it. One friend told me I was being cultish for my criticisms of Biden and the Dems. Nah, actually, it's the other way. Your friend is being cultish. Ain't no cult of people running around not supporting Biden. That's not a cult. That's goofy talk. Yeah. Once again, for the people in the slow seats, a black job is not a job that a black person has. A black job are jobs that are that are historically in black sectors that blacks were able to get. All through America, there's been so much discrimination that only certain jobs where black people could have. People, some of my younger black folks, man, need to recognize America's a lot more racist than you give it credit for. You know? And similar to a story I covered where a FedEx worker could not believe that there are some routes in 2024 that she should not take for her own safety due to the way the communities there will react to her black face, her black skin. She could not imagine, she could not believe this is possible. That's because she doesn't travel enough. That's because she hasn't read enough. Okay, and there were certain sectors where there were no, I remember in the 90s working at Department of Justice for a contractor and having black women come up to me and say, "We love seeing you here, young man." I was like, "Oh, yeah, thank you. And she was like, no, seriously. It's so good that you're here. We love your shirt and your tie. We appreciate you. We never see black men here doing what you're doing or even here working unless they're pushing the mail cart. Thank you, young man. Keep it up." That wasn't 1950. That wasn't 1960, 70, or 80. That was 1990s America in District of Columbia, a very diverse place. And I know it's 30 years later. Ain't that much change, sir. And I was there. I was in that job. But it wasn't historically a black job being at being in that type of position as a consultant, in the position that I was in. You understand what I'm saying? You get it? You understand what I'm saying? That was not historically where black people were seen in DC. I just told you, mail carrier. These were the delivery van. Understand what I'm saying? Jobs like mail delivery. I'm a little spent, but there are certain industries where you'll see less and less black people job. I got a whole book over there called Black Tax Man. There aren't a lot of lawyers. Black people only make up like 2% of lawyers. Black men only make up like 2% of male lawyers. Black women only make up like 2% of female doctors. Do you understand? So what would that make being a doctor and a lawyer be? Would that be considered a black job? Do you understand? That makes sense. It doesn't make. It's not a black job, right? Because we only make up 2% of the people in the market that end up having those jobs. But there are black doctors and black lawyers, but it's not historically a profession that we, in any large numbers, end up occupying. And that's all I mean. I don't know if, I'm not saying Trump meant it as deeply as I put it. I'm not saying Trump meant it as deeply as I put it, but I think he did mean it to a certain degree to that extent. I think he did mean it as far as black jobs. Black people's jobs, black people losing their jobs. If you black and you got a job, that's a black job. But you understand, when we start talking about the categories of jobs that are impacting that black people have more of, folks, when I was an information security manager, or I was a systems analyst for a government contractor for a Fortune 100 company, there wasn't a lot of me doing it except at that location. Like, the company that I worked for was 90% white, dude, over 90% white and Indian and Asian, and over 95% white. Understand? When I went amongst where I was at for that particular agency, in this particular location, it was some black people. But when we went to the company events for the global corporation, then we saw the numbers. So yeah, you have a job. Maybe you're one of those good people that have a job where you're a black person, you're doing well, and you sitting around, you got some black friends. I had black friends at certain jobs, but if you zoom out, zoom all the way out. So that's the point. That's the point I'm trying to make. For a finer point on it, you might want to check out Arami Osei-frimpong, his video on it. It was a live stream. He did an excellent job of breaking it down. My thing is, I won't be too heavy-handed because maybe some people just don't know, and you're a good dude. For anybody who doesn't get that, don't just run with Democratic Party talking points is all I'm saying, man. They don't mean us any well. They just saying that because Trump said it. Okay? A comment said black jobs are important. You wouldn't be like, what's a black job? You just don't like Trump. Just admit it. It's okay not to like Trump. That's cool. I'm not telling you to vote for the guy. But if Kamala said, hey, black jobs are going away, you wouldn't be like, what's a black job? What's a black job? Yeah, you can so obviously get played by Democrats. It's pathetic. That's pathetic. If Hakeem Jeffries gave a speech and he said, and we need to make sure we get black jobs and you would not be like, what do you mean by black job? What do you mean black job? Black people would not even bat an eye at it. But since it's Trump and Al Sharpton and Joy Reid and whoever gave you to go ahead to be offended by it, now you're offended by it. You wouldn't be offended by it if somebody black said black jobs. He didn't say get some black food in here. He didn't say get your black hand off me. There's a difference. We got Joe Biden there sitting there calling grown-ass men boys. And I don't remember seeing many of y'all have much complaints for it. Instead, I saw people defending it. That's not what he meant. Like MC, like, that's not what he meant when he called LL Cool J, the 50-year-old black man, a boy. He meant something else because he a good man. Then I got 5 other instances of him doing the same thing. And y'all not saying nothing. Bakari not saying nothing. Angela Rye not saying nothing. Andrew Gillum not saying nothing. Tiffany Cross silent. Everybody's silent. Everybody got the tongue. Because it was Joe Biden saying that deplorable, disgusting, insulting, degrading shit. But Trump can't even say supporting black people. Hey, what's up with the black jobs? You're like, what's a black job? I don't get it, Johnson. I'm doing so well. I was eating caviar and escargot in first class with my feet kicked back. On my way to the Gucci store. I don't know what's going on. I have no idea. Shit's embarrassing. And that's how brain dead and brain damaged we are by these Democratic Party and Republican Party feuds. We ain't the Catskills or the McCoys. You are not the Catskills or McCoys. You are a black person on the outside of this shit. Stay out of that fight. And keep the objective on black people doing better. We don't have time for away games. That's why I'm doing this type of content. We don't have time for these away games. Don't get caught up in that BS. No, damn well you wouldn't care if I said black music. You know what that is. What's black music? I don't know what black music is. Fuck out of here. All right. And that's not for my brother who said that. That's for anybody, particularly those people on Twitter who didn't have any understanding of what black meant. Now they don't know what it is. But I tell you one thing, talking about black jobs, I bet you Trump will not be giving a black job to Byron Donalds or Tim Scott. What about that black job, Trump? All right, I'm Tim Black, man. Follow me. Hit me up. It's all good. I got nothing but love for y'all. I'll be back, man. Let me let y'all go so I can get up enough strength, get something to eat, come back, do the damn thing. All right? I love y'all. Remember, like I always say, don't let nobody take your cornbread.